Okay, good afternoon. My name is David Heiss. I'm an attorney magistrate. We are scheduled for an informal hearing in two different cases that arise out of one citation. And those
Correct.
two cases are both entitled The People of the City of Battle Creek versus Roosevelt LaShawn Williams. Is that
What starts as a simple traffic citation hearing quickly turns into a constitutional showdown. Expired plates, no proof of insurance, but instead of paying the fine, the defendant challenges the very definition of a motor vehicle. The question is, does this legal strategy hold up in court?
52B? Mr. Williams, basically what happens is you were issued one citation. It had two violations listed on it, so it became two different cases, one with an A and one with a B at the end. But we have one informal hearing scheduled for both of those cases because they both arise out of the same transaction, so to speak. And I guess, Officer Kellums, is there anything before I begin?
No, sir.
All right. Mr. Williams, you're here because you were issued a citation. And in each of those two cases, so for each of those violations, you have three possible responses to the citation. You can first admit responsibility, be assessed the fines and costs, and be done with it. You could, as a second option, admit responsibility with an explanation, hoping that the explanation would cause the court to decrease the fines and costs a little bit. Or you can deny responsibility and have your hearing. It's my understanding that as to both cases, you wished to deny responsibility. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. Well, here's how the hearing works. First of all, I guess I should read the citation. In the case ending with the letter A, it's alleged that back on November 19th of 2024, you were over at Fountain Street near Meacham Avenue in the city of Battle Creek, and you were issued a citation for not being able to provide a proof of insurance. This is a civil infraction. If you were found responsible, all other things being equal, the court would assess $125 fines, costs, and fees. It is a 0-point ticket. And in the second case that ends with the letter B, that same date, time, and place, you were issued a citation for having an expired registration plate. That is also a civil infraction. It is also a 0-point civil infraction. If you were found responsible, all other things being equal, the court would assess $110 fines, costs, and fees. So first question, is that the ticket or the two cases that you thought you were appearing about, Mr. Williams?
It is.
Okay, and same question to you, Officer Kellums?
Yes, sir.
Very good. All right, so the way we'll do this is that I always explained it's a civil case. Just like every other civil case, there's a plaintiff and a defendant. The plaintiff is the city of Battle Creek. They're represented by Officer Kellums. The defendant in both cases is Mr. Williams, because Mr. Williams was handed the citation. So that makes him the defendant. In every civil case, the plaintiff has the burden of proof. And in a case like this, that burden of proof is called by a preponderance of evidence. So in plainer English, Officer Kellums has the burden to show that it's more likely than not that Mr. Williams did those two things, failed to provide a proof of insurance, and was operating with expired plates. The way we go about doing that is, first and foremost, I'll put you both under oath, and then Officer Kellums, who has the burden of proof, will present his case first. The presentation is informal, meaning we don't have thousands of rules of evidence to wade through. We don't have attorneys objecting to things like hearsay and that kind of thing. The only rule is, in order for the court to consider what's presented, it has to be relevant. After Officer Kellums presents his case, Mr. Williams, you get to present your case. Same exact rule applies to you. You can introduce any evidence that's relevant. After both sides have presented their cases, I'll render a decision. That decision can be appealed by either side within 7 days. And Mr. Williams, if you were to appeal the decision, or either one of those decisions, or both, you would have to, in each case, put up the fines and costs and fees as a bond pending appeal. Do you have any questions about how we're going to do things today, Mr. Williams?
Only question I have is, will the laws of the U.S. Supreme Court be applicable, and the federal statutes and definitions of motor vehicle and automobile be applicable in this proceeding?
They are the state of Michigan laws that will be applicable.
Okay. The other question is, are you already not bound by U.S. Supreme Court rulings?
Every court is bound by relevant Supreme Court rulings.
Okay. All right.
I'm not sure why you're asking that, but that's okay. All right. So if you would both raise your right hands. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Officer Kellums?
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Williams?
I do.
Very good. All right. Officer Kellums, if you would begin, please.
So on November 19th, 2024, I was on patrol for the Battle Creek Police Department when I observed the vehicle that Mr. Roosevelt was driving. I observed that it had expired tags on the vehicle. I then conducted a traffic stop on Fountain Street near Meacham Ave. Found Mr. Williams to be driving the vehicle, where I issued him the citations. When speaking with Mr. Williams, he could not provide insurance, and his tags were expired.
Okay. Do you happen to know when they expired?
I do not off the top of my head, sir.
Okay. What made you think they were expired? The wrong color and the wrong year on the plate itself, or something?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Did Mr. Williams say anything to you during the stop about having insurance or not having insurance, or anything about the tags on the plates, anything like that?
He informed me that he did not have to have insurance due to that he was traveling, and to drive a vehicle, you don't have to have insurance. Something regarding Supreme Court. That's about all he said.
Okay. All right. Do you want me to consider anything else at this point, Officer Kellums?
No, sir.
Okay, Mr. Williams, could you hear Officer Kellums' testimony?
Yes, I heard his testimony.
Very good. Thank you for your patience. What do I need to know, sir?
Okay, I did inform Officer Kelly that I am not operating a motor vehicle, but I am operating an automobile. I did inform Officer Kelly of the ruling of Rodriguez v. Ray Donovan, U.S. Department of Labor, 769 Federal 2nd, 1344, where the U.S. Supreme Court's decision has ruled that all codes, rules, and regulations are for government authorities only and not for human creators. In accordance with God laws, all codes, rules, and regulations are unconstitutional and lacking due process.
Here, where the tension spikes, the defendant pivots to federal case law, claiming traffic laws only apply to commercial vehicles. This is a common courtroom tactic, but it hinges entirely on proper legal citation and jurisdiction. Would you rely on Supreme Court arguments in a local civil infraction case?
I'm mistaken.
And he said that was Department of what?
U.S. Department of Labor.
Okay. U.S. Department of Labor doesn't publish decisions in the Fed second. Can you tell me a little bit more about the case? What was at issue in the case?
It was regarding what we're discussing here, the requirements of a driver's license and the need when it's required to have one, stating that when you're not operating in commerce, to which I informed the officer that I am not operating in commerce as stated in U.S.C. 18 U.S.C.A. 31, paragraph A6, states that a motor vehicle, the term of motor vehicle meaning every description of carriage, conveyance, propelled or drawn or mechanical powered and used for commercial purposes. This is what Title 18 U.S.C.A. Section 31A6 states or defines as a motor vehicle, to which I am not operating in commerce. I'm not using
for the purposes of that particular chapter of the United States Code. It would not control what happens in terms of the Michigan legislature defining in Chapter 257 what a motor vehicle is, and an automobile under Michigan law is a motor vehicle. But okay, continue.
Right, it's a motor vehicle, which is described as anything, even by the Michigan compliance statute of 751, which you just stated, is determined as something that's transporting goods, which I'm not transporting goods.
I understand your position, and I can tell you that that position doesn't happen to be legally correct. But go ahead.
So that you're basically stating that that's a misinterpretation of what's in black and white?
No, I'm telling you that you have misinterpreted the application of 18 USC 31A6 and 769 F second or Fed second 1344.
Okay,
But
well, I see what
I've heard your argument.
So there will be no further arguments because I see that you're not going to agree to, because like I said, I've given it to you, the cases where they're like Shapiro v. Thompson, where the U.S. Supreme Court has said that a driver license is not a requirement, that you're trying to convert a right into a privilege, to which is covered by Article 1, Section 8.
I'll ask you this. Is that right, the right to travel?
That is a right to travel, convey, however you want it, by the U.S. Constitution.
What you just told me was that somehow but regardless, am trying to convert a right into a privilege. Now, the question I have for you is, what right has been converted to a privilege?
My right to freely travel unencumbered and
now,
unfettered.
I will ask you this. How is your right to travel removed by receiving the citation?
By trying to require me to have a license to operate a automobile, which is my private vehicle.
Okay. All right. Is there anything else you want me to consider?
No, sir.
All right. Well, I can tell you this. The Michigan motor vehicle laws, including the laws that require you to carry insurance, that require your vehicle to be registered, and require that registration to be current, do not run in violation of any right to travel under the Constitution or the United States Supreme Court decision that you have cited. In fact, the Michigan courts have held that essentially the right to travel means the right for you to move from A to B, not the right for you to travel from A to B under your most convenient way. So you could walk from point A to B all you wanted. You could take a taxi or an Uber or a plane or a train or a bus. But if you wish to travel by using a motor vehicle, the Michigan laws are applicable and don't unconstitutionally interfere with the right to travel. It doesn't convert the right to travel into a privilege. You are not denied the right to travel. You may be denied the privilege of traveling via a motor vehicle that you are operating. So,
okay, so
that is what the law says, and that's what I'm finding. Is there anything else you want me to consider about that finding?
Shuttleworth v. Birmingham, U.S. 147. Do you mind telling me what the U.S. Supreme Court ruled in that?
U.S. 147 doesn't give me the site of a case. That's an incomplete site of a case. Okay.
It was Shuttle.
And if you wish me to consider the case, why don't you tell me what was at issue in the case and what year it was decided?
I said Shuttleworth v. Birmingham, U.S. 147, 1969, where it says
no license. U.S. 147 is not a complete cite. The way you cite to a case is by name and then volume number and then the name of the publication and then the page number. So, for instance, when you said 769 Fed Second 1344, what that means is volume 769 of a book or volumes called the Federal Reporter Second Edition at page 1344. So when you're asking me about this most recent case that you've talked about, what you said was US 147, I think. That's not the citation to a case. So you're going to have to tell me more about that case. Who were the parties to that case and what issue was before the Supreme Court in that case?
Okay, so you didn't hear me cite the name of Shuttleworth v. Birmingham?
I heard you say the name. That doesn't tell me what, that's not a complete cite of the case.
All right. Do you not have the documents that I filed when I filed to say that I want to have an informal hearing? The affidavit that writes that my
there are documents that have been scanned into the court that you dropped off.
okay.
So
So
from
even
those
if,
documents, why don't you tell me the proper citation for Shuttle versus Birmingham?
okay, traffic infractions are not crimes, blah blah blah. Person faced with okay.
Right. Traffic infractions are not crimes. That's absolutely correct. They are
Okay,
civil
no,
infractions for a reason.
I was reading from a different case, but the case that I'm citing from states that no license necessary to drive an automobile on public highways, streets. No license is necessary. The word operator should not include any person who solely transport his own property and who transport no persons or property for hire or
Where's that
compensation.
citation from?
Okay, I just appeal it, and that way I can make sure all citations are.
It's fine. I mean, the idea is I can't look up what you're telling me, right? Without a
Okay.
proper citation. So you can read, I mean, for all I know, and I don't mean this, I'm using a farcical example. For
Okay.
all I know, you're quoting the municipal court in Honolulu, Hawaii, which has no
Right.
jurisdiction over Michigan.
It's
right?
understandable.
I don't
Okay,
know.
so I would cite Payne v. Massey, 196 Southwest 2nd, 493, Texas, 273.
Okay. Well, and I can tell you that Texas law, a court interpreting Texas law, that decision wouldn't be controlling on a Michigan court. But that's fine. I think I understand where you're going. If you want, I don't need to consider anything else. I'm just asking you, is there anything else
Okay, well,
you want to present to me?
if you're not going to consider anything else, then we can proceed on to your ruling, of which I know you're going to find. So, and like
But
I said,
not-
like you said, I have a right to appeal it. So,
Yeah, and I'm willing to listen. If you're going to quote something, I need to know what you're quoting, and I need a proper citation so I can look it up myself, right? Because otherwise, people could just run around quoting Mickey Mouse if they wanted.
right. Okay. So
Nothing against you. So the question to you is, what else do you want me to consider at this point that you haven't yet told me?
okay. Zobel v. Williams, 457 US 55.
And why are you citing that case? What is it telling me?
Because it states that let me see the above blah 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 to travel unencumbered and fettered on common public way or highway, which is their right to so do.
Absolutely.
Held that the right to travel is constitutional protected.
Yes, it is.
So it don't.
Anything
it
else
doesn't
you want
say
me to
that-
consider?
No, sir. No, sir. No, 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 no.
Okay. I have no problem telling you have the right to travel. I have no problem telling you have the constitutional right to travel. All citizens do. No doubt about that.
One
But
question. Is there a difference between a motor vehicle and an automobile? Is there a difference?
Yes. All
Okay,
automobiles
so-
are motor vehicles, but not all motor vehicles are automobiles.
Okay, so is my automobile not my private personal automobile that's not being used in commerce?
I would have no idea the use of your motor vehicle, and it's not relevant to me for the purposes of deciding whether you're responsible for these civil infractions.
Okay. Well, I have nothing else for you to consider.
Well, very good. I'm letting you know the law does not make a distinction between your using the vehicle for personal reasons or you're using the vehicle for commercial reasons when
But this-
your registration plate is expired and
But
when
the-
you fail to show proof of insurance. Both of those are
With the
required.
MCL language,
Both of those are required under Michigan law for anyone operating any motor vehicle. That's what I can tell
Okay.
you. So
correct.
if you
A motor vehicle to which I am not operating a motor vehicle. And this is what we are trying to
I guess,
circumvent.
yeah,
I am
and
operating
it's not
my automobile,
circumventing.
not a motor vehicle.
I can tell you that an automobile is considered a motor vehicle under the Michigan Motor Vehicle Code. So that's fine. Is there anything else you want me to consider?
Nope.
Very good. All right. So I've listened very carefully to the evidence. I do find that it's more likely than not that when you were required to by Officer Kellums at a traffic stop show proof that your vehicle was insured, that you failed to do so. And that it is more likely that your operator's, or not your operator's license, I'm sorry, the registration plates on the vehicle were expired. So I'm going to assess the 100.
In the end, the magistrate sticks strictly to Michigan law. The right to travel remains intact, but operating a vehicle comes with statutory requirements. Registration and insurance are mandatory regardless of personal or commercial use. If you enjoy real courtroom breakdowns like this, like the video, comment your thoughts, and subscribe for more judge-level analysis.
Is that correct?
That is the address. I don't know where the other address is coming from, but that is my address.
Well, I don't know what other address you're speaking of, but that's the address the court now has for you. So both of those
All right.
judgments will go out in the mail on Monday. And so it'll take, a couple days to get to you or whatever, but you should have copies of them. Certainly, I would say by the end of next week. If you don't, you can always come to the court and obtain a different copy, or you can call the court, and if they have to, they can try to email one to you, but they'll go out in the mail on Monday. And what I'll do is I will put February 14th as the date that those payments are due. 14th of this year. All right. Thank you both for your time and patience.